headed to the basement. This is solid. I bet he's got some sort of a furnace built off of this thing. And it's getting dark enough. There we go. Here she's focusing. I don't know what he's got going on with that.
And just work his way up, one step at a time. This little bridge over here is pretty neat. This is one of those ideas that you would be like, why is this here? Well, he decided when he got this tower here and he got that chimney tower over here, wouldn't it be cool if I built a walkway that went across from one tower to the other? So there was a time when he was actually out here building with nothing over here. So he was hanging in the air on the steel that he was building.
With heavy stones in hand.
This is an example of how he got the material up here. He would hang a pulley on that point, drop the cable down, build up to the pulley, and then he would weld more iron scrap up and hang the pulley another 10 foot high and build up to it. So the idea of this metal structure right here, it's a geodesic dome. His idea was to put one-way mirrors you can see out, and at night, the moonlight, as it spun, because it's built on the track and it'll go around in circles, it'll be like a big disco ball. And then if there were aliens visiting from outer space, it would attract. And then we could open the place up free to aliens as well. The big permanent picture in his head that I think I have a similar picture in my own head is 2.5 acres surrounded by a wall with vendors and like a Renaissance festival happening all the way around the 2.5 acres.
I just need to get bigger, but being retired, I won't. I pray to God every night to get back to my old stuff and start working again.
There's this thing going on right now with my dad where he might be better off in a retirement home, but I believe in the same kind of freedom that he does. And this is where he wants to be, sitting out there telling stories to people.
I enjoy people. I like to show my man.
Hopefully we can keep him right up here with the big guys. I know this is where he wants to be.
That's incredible. One man built this massive castle. There was talk at one time he's wanting to build a moat around the outside of it, with, like I said, with the walls and water in it.
People look at it.
Cool.
Man, one man knew this in his lifetime, but it wasn't in his lifetime. It was a third of his life. The other 2/3 were spent making money to do it.
That's right.
It's only ever been
A third of his lifetime to build this castle by himself.
one rock on top of the other, shapes out of it. 53 years later, this is what you got.
53 years he's been working on it.
All right, I'm Dan Bishop, and this is the castle my dad built. Tim Bishop.
Yeah, every dad's got a castle somewhere.
We have no idea how many tons of rock and concrete he's put in there over the years. Every one of these rocks comes from locally off the National Forest road ditches, creek beds. You can see the crane in the background. It's shot right here. I bought that for $500 out of the junkyard. And I've been using the crane. The way my dad did it was with a pickup truck, a cable, a couple of block and tackle pulleys, and a basket. He'd haul the rock in, throw it on the dirt, we'd put it on the basket, and he would hook the truck up to the cable, back the truck up, pull the basket up.
Oh my goodness.
Take my hand off of the basket and stack it in spot.
Use it up, fell down the rope, and do it all over again.
People were like, you must have got some machinery to do this. No, just that old beat up truck.
Wow. That is incredible.
So in the last couple of years, my dad's health has declined. His Parkinson's made it hard for him to do anything, and I'm pretty much in charge up here now. I've taken over.
You know what year you started? 1969. Same year as me on the moon.
Wow.
Started me in
I was 7 years old when he started this.
before he started.
69. Yeah.
It's been part of my life.
I've been 7 years old.
I can remember climbing around on top of it.
Sorry.
Seen in boxing or something. That's the very beginning of the castle right here. In June 1969, he started building the rock cottage. This was the first room of it. This water tank standing in the corner back here, decided to stand that up. and then build a staircase around it and make it a two-story cottage. And with the combination of the arched windows and the round tower, people that drove by said it looked like a castle. After 4 years of building this part right here in '73, my dad started digging another hole out front. My grandpa asked him, "What are you
Well, that's a
doing?
picture when he's younger.
What are you doing
Wow.
now?" Because people want a castle, I'm gonna build them a castle. And my grandpa says, "That's it, I'm done." And so since 1973, it's been entirely a Rembrandt project. Because my grandpa didn't want to have anything to do with building a castle. He said, "Dad, we trying to come to the mountains, get away from people." My dad is a bit of an egotist, and there came a point where he decided he had done so much of this by himself that he wanted credit for it being a one-man project. And so at a very young age, I wasn't allowed to help, because if people saw me helping, it made a liar out of it. So
Incredible.
we are on the second level of the castle. This little arched room right here, the plan for it is to turn it into a little museum, probably have artifacts from the things that have been used to build it. And just old antique stuff like that old ring wash machine that's been sitting here. My mom used to do laundry up here with that when I was a kid, but nobody ever lived in it. It never got to a point where you could eat it. So it started out as one room, and the more it grew in his head, then he would get an idea to add this to it, and how am I going to add this to it. It got up to a point where he was afraid that the walls might fall out. So when he got to a certain height, he decided to put the flying buttresses on that would keep it from falling outwards. This buttress
That's a good idea.
right here with the steps on it, this was the very first of the flying buttresses. One of the things that a lot of people don't know is the castle is all dug into bedrock. It's sitting right on solid rock. And that buttress right there goes 15 feet into the ground.
By himself. I can't understand.
This roof, each one of those sheets, he bent from a flat piece and put them on himself. These were a form that he built, and during the winter months, he would pour these, haul them up with the cable, set them in place. The only part of the castle you'll find that my dad didn't build. He installed the stained glass, but most of the stained glass was built by a couple various artists. This ironwork right here is kind of unique to the structure as well. My dad dropped out of high school when he was 15 to do the ironwork at Pueblo. And so the castle's got all kinds of this ornamental iron. In the early years, it was just weekends in the summer. The rest of the time, he worked for a living, building patio covers, window guards, railings, stuff like that. He would have extra material from the job, figure out a way to place it in the castle. It takes a lot of abuse. If there's anything I have to do to maintain the place more than anything right now, is come in and weld new tread plates on the stairs. Get a lot of people in here.
Yeah, it's too damaged
It's a very big
treads.
tourist attraction. A lot of people know it all over the world. It's got national TV channels, word of mouth gets out there. We don't do any advertising. We depend
I
on
did.
those people going out and telling their family, "Hey, you know what we saw?" So this is the part we call the Great Hall. Had lots of weddings. There's been musical events. For a while there, my dad kind of went a little nuts and let the ravers have weekend parties here. That was pretty insane. But they loved it. That one rave, there were like 50 people that had just collapsed in the middle of the night one night, just sleeping upside down in the dirt.
Oh, you're
And
kidding.
the tourists come in on a sad Sunday morning. They just couldn't figure out what was going on, right?
Ah,
My dad loved the raves and the attention he got from it. Because if there's anything more that has built Bishop Castle than just sheer determination, is the attention he got while he was building it. They still call sometimes wanting to know if they can throw a rave, but the county imposed an injunction against the all-night music parties here. If you look at each one of them things right there, they're all uniform, right? They were built on the ground in sections, and then he had a big scaffolding, and he put the first one up. They put the second one up, and he moved the scaffolding back, and he just worked his way back and assembled in place. It's the same thing with the dragon on the front. It took him 6 months to build the dragon, and then it was brought up and hoisted up with a pulley and welded in place.
Yeah.
They were ignoring me all the people.
Huh? I'm over here. They have a
Discarded
educational video.
stainless steel.
She's over here worried about you.
And he took each warmer tray and cut it into 8D-shaped scales, and then pot riveted each one to the metal frame. It looked like something like 12,000 hand-driven pop rivets.
Wow.
In the Dragon alone to create that. These balconies are an add-on idea. What made him decide to put the balconies on here, I'm not really sure. You would think that he's been stacking rock, he'd done enough, but one day he decided to build a 6-foot wide balcony hanging off the side of the castle out of iron. And there's just no real rhyme or reason to it, where it came from. The idea here is to have an elevator that'll service the 3 stories. It's got a Jeep winch in it right now. If I put a little work into it, I could get it to where it can go up and down, but it's by no means meets any safety standards, and I want everybody on it, right? This square tower that comes up, it's 160 foot from the ground to the top of the spire up there. There was a time where he was hauling 3 tons of rock every 2 days and installing it in that summer, and that tower went like 60 feet in one summer. It's just insane the way he would wake up with the sun and get in that truck right there and go out and load it plumb full of rock. He would put the rocks on the platform, get in the truck, and back the truck up. The reason why that tower is that tall is because he couldn't back up any further without climbing off the cliff.
That's funny.
As it is with everything right now, the biggest expense to build a castle was the fuel money it took to get the cement here. We're poor people. We've always been poor people. My mom did things on a shoestring budget. I'd be surprised if altogether you had 200,000 into material over the years, because the rock is free.
Where'd you get all the stones?
Cleaning out all of it, public land, in the public service.
Now the government tried to stop him from getting it for free, so for a while there he was paying 15 cents a ton to get a permit from the National Forest, and then they finally just gave up on that after a while. And he hasn't bought a permit in a long time. My dad doesn't like to do anything that doesn't make sense. And there's too many rules on the books that make no sense. When he was a young kid, early teens, he went to Seven Falls. And it was all my grandmother and grandfather could do to pay the admission price to get in. And then when he got in, he was climbing on some rocks and so came over the loudspeaker, "Hey, you little kid on the mountain, get off of there," and it embarrassed him. And so he decided, when he was a young kid, that he was going to do something for the people, where it didn't cost a lot of money for a poor man to go and enjoy it. And then he wasn't going to tell people how to act when they got there. Me and Ian Boll consider this to be one of the last true places of freedom in the world. You might, if you stick around here long enough, catch somebody climbing over the edge of the top and swinging off from a rope. It's not unheard of for people to do crazy stuff like that up here, and as a bishop, the guy running the place, I'll just stand back and watch. You know, anywhere else you go, you got to sign some insurance waiver and all this. But because we don't charge, we're not running a business. We're not responsible for their welfare. So enter at your own risk. If you do not agree, do not enter. This is private property. I have this theory that in the safety-minded world that we live in, we actually create danger by masking it. Nobody's ever fallen off of this, but as they come up, they're scared to death. They're hanging on tight. They're not testing this or that. They're not leaning on a railing going, "Oh, what happened here?" Their brain's going to fall off. Therefore, they don't push on it, right? Amazingly, in the years, nobody's ever gotten hurt on this thing, really hurt. We looked into trying to insure it. Nobody will touch it. So we'll head on up these stairs that he built. I don't remember what year he built the stairs in here, but they didn't exist for a long time. You can see where he drives the pin into the rock. And he just stepped in, well, into the step. And just worked his way up, one step at a time. This little bridge over here is pretty. This is one of those ideas that you would be like, why is this here? Well, he decided when he got this tower here and he got that chimney tower over here, wouldn't it be cool if I built a walkway that went across from one tower to the other? So there was a time when he was actually out here.
That's where we started.
With nothing over here.